Hi, my name is Gabe Arnold. I'm the founder of Landscape Marketing Hero. And today we're going to talk about something that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe you have, but it's something that I see happening in a lot of the groups I'm in with other landscapers. I see it happening in a lot of business spaces, not just in the landscaping industry. But I'm going to share with you why discounting your services is the fastest way to go out of business. And none of us got in business to go out of business in a ball of fire. We want to go and get in our businesses so we can grow, we can be profitable, and we can achieve the dreams of freedom of time and freedom of money that we got into business for. So stay tuned, and I'm going to break this down for you so you can avoid this dangerous trap. I'm Gabe Arnold, and this is the Green Mountain Podcast. We are the champions who brave the elements to create beauty. We see chaos and create order. We are never afraid of hard work, and we understand the power of strategic thinking and intentional actions. We come from all walks of life, and we will never allow our past to determine our future potential. We create beauty around the homes of our customers and increase the value of our community with the work that we do every day. We understand the power of consistent branding because it helps us grow and serve all those around us. We practice effective sales so our company, employees, and community can benefit from the value we add. We intentionally invest in operational habits that help us deliver excellent results to our customers on a continual basis. We understand that powerful and beautiful things take time to grow, and with consistent watering and intention, amazing results can happen. We are committed to making the world a better place by being positive examples to all those around us. We don't allow anyone to look down on us because we know the value we bring to our community as leaders. We create positive workplaces for our employees so they feel safe and supported, and at the same time, we hold ourselves to high standards. We pursue excellence on a daily basis because we know the journey is worth the sacrifice. We are the protectors of the land. We are the guardians of beauty. We are the heroes. We are landscapers. Let me tell you a story about a landscaper named Charlie. So Charlie opens up his business and he finds this neighborhood that he wants to work in, and he looks at what other people's pricing is, and he asks in Facebook groups, and he asks around, and he determines that he's going to charge $75 a mow for this neighborhood that he's going to work in. And so he goes around and he's got his truck, his trailer, his mower, and one employee, and he's super excited, and he gets really busy in the beginning because he's got a few people taking him up on the $75 a cut pricing. And so he ends up hiring 2 more employees because he's sure he's going to crush it. But there's a couple hiccups on some of the jobs. One of his employees doesn't show up one day, and so a lawn doesn't get mowed, and he has to deal with that customer issue. And then he does a walkway, and the customer didn't tell him that there was actually just a gas line put in about 6 months ago. And so a few months later, the walkway settles. He wasn't aware that the ground wasn't actually, settled and tamped in the way it was supposed to be. And Charlie encounters a few problems. And so as he's starting to try to figure out how to get out of these challenging projects, he goes to some new customers, and his confidence is shaken. And he's like, man, I need customers, but I can't figure out, what to do. And so, but I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to door knock. I'm going to go to the neighbors. And he goes to the next neighbor who he wants to sell his services to. He says, yep, we're $75 a cut. I hope that's okay. And the customer says, you know what? I had somebody doing it for 60. Will you do it for 60? And Charlie goes, well, normally I don't do it for 60, but you know what? This seems good. I'll do it for $60 a cut. So Charlie's excited because he got this account, and then he does a good job for the customer. The customer actually tells 3 or 4 other neighbors about how Charlie's doing a great job, and that he's really cheap, and he did it for $60, and he was able to negotiate the price down. And so these other neighbors call Charlie and say, hey, I hear you're doing John's lawn. I'd like to, have you work with me too. And Charlie goes over and says, yep, since John referred you, I'm going to give you the same pricing. And the new customer, Sam, says, you know what? I really can only afford 50. And, it's a little bit smaller yard. So can you please do it for 50? And Charlie's confidence is still a little bit shaken. He's got employees now. So he's sure like, oh, I'll just take on more volume. He's like, all right, I'll do it for 50. And then, word gets around to the other neighbors, and he goes to the next neighbor to price and he says, you know what? I can only afford 40. And it goes on and on and on. And eventually Charlie's doing lawns for $25 a cut. And we've all seen those posts, and I've seen plenty of people make fun of that person for advertising that. But it's not really about, making fun of them. It's about realizing that all of us, when we make the decision to discount, are really, teetering on a dangerous place where if we keep discounting, we're just going to drive ourselves out of business. We're going to be working for less than minimum wage, and we're going to be losing money. And the reason that people discount most of the time is because they don't know their worth, and they don't understand how to show up and be in their full value and explain to the customer the value that they're getting. One very simple example of how to turn this around is you can say, to a prospect and say, have you ever mowed this lawn yourself? And I had a landscaper ask me that one time for my home, because I don't have my own landscaping company anymore. I have a landscaper that comes and does a great job for us. And, I said, well, I mowed it and it took me 3.5 hours. And because I don't have a zero turn anymore. I don't have any of that stuff. And he said, oh, well, that sounds like a lot of time. And he didn't say anything else, but he put in my mind, he reminded me that I could spend 3 or 4 hours a week doing this, which would take away from me working on my other businesses. It would take me away from family time. It would be busy, every week. He reminded me the value of not having to spend that time. And as he went through his presentation and gave me his estimate, he was careful to remind me about the cost and the time it would take for me to do it myself, and the value of having somebody do it for me. And he was able to charge his profitable rates, and he was able to make money. And so most of the time when we start to discount, it's because we have forgotten the value that we're bringing to the situation. And I want to remind you of something today. Time is more expensive than money. Okay, write that down. Remember that time is more expensive than money. And especially for anybody that is going to have their landscaping done, it's because they don't have time to do it. And so you can really focus on being profitable, knowing what the rate should be. How long is it going to take my employees to do this? What is my overhead? Like we talked about earlier this week on the show, what's the profit I want to make each year? So how do I break that down into each account we service? And you can say, you know what, prospective customer, not only are we going to save you a ton of time, but it's going to be beautiful. We're going to communicate with you. You're going to know what's going on, and we're going to take care of this for you. And it's, $95 a cut, or what, using my Charlie example, whatever it actually needs to be. You need to have an estimating process. You need to know your numbers, like we talked about yesterday as well. But when you show up and stand in your value and explain, like, here's the value we're bringing, there's no need to discount. No one ever wakes up and says, you know what, I want the cheapest, crappiest car I can find to sometimes get to work when it starts. And I want it to be ugly as hell and, be embarrassed when I pull up next to my friends. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants discounted, cheap, crappy things that don't work. They want valuable, reliable things they can trust that are going to continually deliver the result that they want. And so our value comes from inside of us. It comes from our confidence, from our knowledge. It comes from investing in ourselves, like we talked about on the show this week as well. So you can go back a couple episodes and take a look at that one. And the more value you bring, the more you can charge. Because if your crew is always on time, always does a great job, leaves a thank you note after every single property service and says, thanks for letting us service your property. If there's anything you need, reach out. You can do little things that add massive value to your customers, and they will be happy to pay you what you're worth, because they would rather, drive the BMW or the Cadillac or the Lexus of landscaping services than have somebody that doesn't charge enough, does a crappy job, and they have to fire them and start over again. And so it's healthy and it's important to remind prospects of that. I don't want to put you in a position where a few months from now, your lawn's not getting mowed and it looks like crap because, you're trying to get the cheapest deal. That doesn't serve you. It's not about, what I need to make out of this. It's about you getting the value that you need from this. And when you start to approach things that way and you understand that your value comes from inside of you and you are the driver of your business, that's when you can charge appropriately and you can really serve your customers well. Discounting is the fast path to going out of business. And instead of discounting, if somebody's looking for something more, say, you know what, this is what the pricing is, but this seems like a great fit for us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to include these bonuses for you. We're going to do XYZ extra included. And you can make sure that actually works in your pricing. Or you know what, because you're a brand new customer, we're going to, add these things on in spring cleanup. There's the only thing you should do when you're trying to promote or come up with a better offer for your prospects is give them free things or bonuses. And they're essentially the same thing, right? But you don't ever want to discount. It's either full price or free, is what one of my friends says, because You can throw something in that's really valuable, like a couple extra yards of mulch isn't going to cost you a ton, and it's an added value instead of saying, oh, let me knock my price down, because it totally changes the relationship. And you don't want to be in relationships where people are devaluing you. They don't know what you're worth. They're not valuing your time, and they're thinking that they can just beat you down to the lowest price. Stay away from those things. Do not tolerate discounting. Know your numbers and price profitably and in the market in a healthy way. So you are competitive in the sense that you're in range, but you're being profitable account by account. It's better to have 10 super profitable accounts than 20 no profit accounts, because then you're just working like crazy and not making money, right? So all of this to say, I'm just encouraging you, stop discounting, stop trying to price match. Instead, find ways to add value and make the experience for your customers so much better that they can't even consider working with somebody else. That's how we beat discounting, and that's how we grow, and that's how we run profitable businesses. I appreciate you taking time to tune in today. I look forward to seeing you next week. And if you need any help, please reach out at landscapemarketinghero.com. We're here to serve you and help you climb all the way up the Green Mountain to having a $10 million or more per year business. And it's what we love helping our clients do. So reach out when you need help. And again, thank you. We'll see you next week. If you're ready to begin your journey up the Green Mountain, where we show you how to build a low-stress, high-profit, $10 million per year landscaping company, then head over to landscapemarketinghero.com to download your free growth map. One of our guides will be there to help you along the way. Again, that's landscapemarketinghero.com.